Happy Point Romance Day. Hi guys, we're going to be chatting about Point Romance, Summer Dreams, Winter Love by Mary Frances Shura. I think I'm saying that right. But yeah, this is a real trip down memory lane. So I'm just going to add our guests in. Hi everyone. Just add everyone in. This is where I always think, am I going to do this right? Very wrong. And get a surprise. Hi, Kelly.
Hi!
Hello. Yeah, guys.
It's really weird being this side.
I know. Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, because you're normally joining on the chats in the comments, but you're
faceless.
Oh no, we can't have that. That's got to change.
Hi guys.
Oh dear. Hi guys. I've just invited Shelly in, but I haven't seen her pop up yet. But anyway, she'll get the invite. But unfortunately, Melina can't join us. I'm sad. But yeah, she's not feeling very well. So sending all my love, Melina. And I did say, would you like me to postpone the chat? But she said, no, go ahead. So yeah, bless her. So we're
sending to do an extra good job.
Yeah.
Then.
So we're sending Melina all our love and hugs so that she feels a bit better. Right, Shelly's there now, so I should be able to get Shelly on. I can't wait to speak to you about this. I'm like so excited.
Got my copy right there.
I know, I can see it in the background. Oh no, it says Shelly's unable to join. It's going to get confusing with two Shellys here, you know.
Shelly with a C and Shelly with an S.
That's it, there's always one. Here's Shelly. Oh, she's gone.
She's gone again.
She was there and she disappeared.
She was.
Oh, this always happens, Kelly. Like,
I
know. Right, let's try again. So, yeah.
Is that me now?
We can.
Oh, wait a minute. What is going on? Hold on. I don't know what's happening with my camera's like going the opposite way round or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That's never happened to me before. Any ideas on how to fix it?
Is there like a little on your screen? Is there like a little options, and that way you can mute or press the little arrows?
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Just sort of trying to have. Oh, there's a wee arrow. Oh no, not there. You got. This is crazy. Right? I'm going to come back out and see if I can go back in. Right? Okay, hold on.
Thanks, Shelly.
Oh dear.
Bless her. Oh dear. I'm sure that it happens sometimes when Emma tries to join. Let me add Shelly again. Right, I'll just add her in again. But yeah, this was a trip down memory lane, Kelly. Like I know when we met.
It's because of you and me, wasn't it? We came up with this idea.
Yeah. So me and Kelly met up, didn't we? And we went book shopping at there's like a book farm place not far from where we live, and we love going there.
The best kind of farm.
Spending lots of money, and finding all the bargains. And we was like talking about this book, and we was like, we'll have to do it. We're gonna have to like revisit it, reread it, and see what happens. But yeah, it was like it really gave me like really nostalgic feelings. Who is this bitty co-host?
That's my husband.
Oh la la.
Hi Stephen.
What a pity. Oh, Shelly must be having problems.
Oh, yeah. We got a little look at her, and then
we saw her beautiful face, and then she disappeared.
I'm trying to get as much of my collection in shot, but my Point Romance is actually at the top. So.
Oh yeah, I see.
Oh my goodness, that was crazy. I was like, please let me back in. I've been waiting all week to speak about this book. Oh, it's so good to see you both.
Oh, and you, Shelly. Kelly was just saying all the Point Romances at the top so we can see them now. At the top.
Oh yeah, fantastic. I love them. Do you know what's crazy? crazy. Like, I had every single one when I was growing up, and then I don't know what happened in between getting older and all my moves of houses and things. They just suddenly just disappeared, and now I'm like this
Same.
in my 40s, and I'm like reliving my youth and buying all the same books I had when I was young, and it's quite cool. I'm loving building up the collection again. It's good.
Yeah, same. I had quite a few, and then over the years, I think I said to Kelly before, I just lost them, or just never kept any of my point romance. So it's been really nice, like recollecting them.
Yeah.
Are any of yours your originals, Kelly, or have you just
I
recollected?
just recollected for the point romance, and I only actually had a handful of the point horrors, which is such a shame because I remember having almost all of them back in the day. So it's cost me a little bit of money on Vinted and eBay to get them all back again. But
Yeah.
this is my shelf of nostalgia.
Oh, I love
got
it.
Nancy Drew and all
I
sorts
love
on it
it.
now as well.
Oh,
That is
that's
so cool.
amazing. That's so good. I was just saying, Melina's not feeling very well, so she can't join
Oh,
us. So
I know
yes,
I noticed she wasn't here. Sending love to you, Melina.
sending love. We miss
We
you.
did a buddy read last month, and I was like so excited to like get a chance to meet her. But I'm so sad she's unwell. So sending you big hugs.
Yes, big hugs to Melina. But we have two brilliant guests to chat about this point romance. So we've got author Shelly Mack, who is author of children's books, including picture books and young adult books, and most recently Landis, which I've got on my phone here. Woohoo! Which I'll put a little link. I'll put a little link to after. But do check it
Thank
out.
you.
It's so good. And obviously, Shelley's normally used to being on the other side.
I
Because
know.
like you run like a Meet the Author on Instagram, which is really, really good, and you get to ask all the questions. So it's normally you adding the people in, and it's always different when it's you being
Why there's
added
been
this side.
problems because I'm like I don't know how to do it on this side.
And next up, we've got the brilliant Kelly.
Woo!
Kelly is a dear friend of mine, and we have met up in real life, which we met through Point Horror, didn't we, Kelly?
Aww,
We did a lot of
that's so
point
good.
horror.
Yeah, definitely. We bonded over like crazy stalkers and dodgy
Brings
female point horror
everyone
leads.
together.
Exactly. We've swapped stories, but we've also swapped books as well as we've been
Yes,
collecting them. So
definitely.
when we meet, we tend to have something to share for the other person, something else for their collection.
Yeah.
Do you guys live near each other?
Ish.
Far-ish, yeah.
Ish.
It's like, yeah, I'd say.
Midlandsy.
Yeah. So Kelly's, I would say, probably about 45 minutes from me, something like that. So,
good.
yeah. But we didn't know that until like we kind of was chatting about Point Horror, and we was like, whoa, we live really close. We'll have to meet up.
That's the magic of Point Horror.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And Kelly runs a UK family and lifestyle blog as well, which is really good. And I think, is it To Become a Mum?
Yes, To
the
Become
website?
a Mum,
Yeah.
A riff on the Spice Girls.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Sorry, that was my ring light because I was such a dark study. My ring light just went off there. But it's otherwise I'm just in shadow because the lights are all behind me.
Oh, yeah, I have that problem. But yeah, so your blog's kind of about like family life, and then it's evolved into like ideas and advice from like parenting, style, beauty, and things like that. It's amazing. You can get loads of tips on there.
Excellent.
So yes, we're going to be chatting about summer dreams, winter love, with the tagline, everybody warned her to be careful. But I really think the tagline should have been, the difference between 13 and 14 was a lot more than a birthday candle. Because she quotes
that would have been a brilliant tagline. Absolutely love that.
That would have been better, definitely. So yeah, published in 1993, and it's a whopping 343 pages, which is quite hefty for 93. I was like, oh, okay, it's going to take me longer to read this than the average point horror. But we basically follow the life of Ellen from when she turns 14 over the course of the next 2.5 years-ish, I think it is, which is quite a long period of time for a YA back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And poor Ellen, she just can't get Michael out of her mind. She knows he might be dangerous. She knows she might get hurt, but she can't stop wanting him.
Oh,
Can't we all?
the torments.
Poor Ellen, bless her. So what memories, we've all read this before, I know Shelley, you've read it quite often, like what nostalgic memories does this book hold for you over the years, Shelley?
Well, I think I found it for me quite relatable at the time when I was growing up. I was kind of one of these kids at school that I never really found my tribe until I was well into my late 20s. And I just kind of never fit anywhere, so I just lost myself in books. And this was always one of my favourite books because you know what it's like when you're at school and you've got all these crushes and, you know, this continued unrequited love, you know, so it's like, for me it was like, oh, maybe one day they'll notice me and maybe this could happen to me. So I suppose I was kind of agonising with Ellen and living vicariously through her story. I will say that since I was reading it when I was younger to now, I do have different feelings and emotions surrounding this book just because life has evolved and changed. And I don't necessarily champion her chasing him like this or wanting him like this now because I mean, she just spends so much of the book crying and upset, and you know, it's really it's quite harrowing to read. But I still, to this day, think the writing holds up. I do think it's good, and I think it covers quite a lot of things that maybe was slightly ahead of its time, shall we say? And yeah, I don't know. There's just something about it. I think for me, it is perfect nostalgia, and it is just kind of remembering back to how you used to be able to escape into a book when you were younger. You know, so for me, this book sort of captures that. I think people think I'm a bit weird that I still read it every Christmas, you know, and it's about a 14-year-old girl. And I'm like, well, I don't know. It's just something in it that I'll always continue to do that every year in December. December's a stressful month, so having something to they say that you go back to, if you watch things over and over again or you read things again and again, it's a way of dealing with your own anxiety. That is definitely true for me. That's why I do those things. And you know, I think December is a stressful time for everybody for various different reasons, and escaping into this book just kind of brings me back to myself, you know, and it's a good way to do it.
No, that is good. Yeah, it's definitely true. Like just rereading a book, a favourite book or something, does just make you feel comforted, like a little warm blanket. Nice. But yeah, I definitely agree. I always say with like these 90s books, or even like if we read books from the 80s, like some of them are a sign of the times kind of thing, and obviously nowadays certain things would be dealt with very differently. So always just keep quite an open mind when I'm reading these books, just to try and get past some of the things. How about you, Kelly? What nostalgic memories does it hold for you?
I can't really remember reading any other point romances at the time. As I said, I've been collecting them and thinking I might have seen them on the shelf, but this is the one that just really stood out to me. I mean, it is so 90s and beautiful, just from the neon writing. I mean, the look on her face, just, you know, that I exactly. I mean, who can't relate to that when they were 14?
Yeah.
That picture of her, head in her hands, looking slightly forlorn, but also that little glint of hope in her eyes. And it's just, it does just take you back so much. Like when I read it, I shouldn't be cheating on Point Horror here, but when I was reading it, I know, don't listen. But when I was reading it, I did remember it. Not like full on plot points, but I just remembered that feeling. And I think, as you say, the writing I think does hold up, because I think I went into it thinking this is going to be cheesy and over the top, and am I going to relate to something when it's about a 14-year-old? And then I was just like, no, I can remember reading this and it having such an effect on me that I don't know. I think, you know, when we were that age and all the love songs at the time and everything, it was all about, you know, unrequited love or losing love. And so reading this book, it's like you did feel like you could relate, like you knew a friend who's going through it, or you remembered a time where there was a boy you really liked and they didn't show you any attention. So it's just so nostalgic.
So true.
I was right there with you. Same.
So Shelley, did you have a Michael equivalent, and was he dangerous?
I'll tell you, right,
Which
so...
Shelly? This
Oh,
is
which
going to get
Shelly?
confusing.
Sorry, I'm thinking that you meant me. Yeah, this Shelly, ask that
No,
Shelly, because you
you
said
go.
something. No, not at all. You said something in one of your comments. Oh, it's confused. We did say it was going to be confusing.
We forgot about that. It'll have to be like Shelly 1 and Shelly 2.
Right, Shelly 1, go.
Shelly 1. Yes, he wasn't dangerous. He was like geeky. That's the type of like person I've always gone for. But yeah, I just loved him from afar. And like, even like I bumped into him like before I had my son, so it's got to be like about 19 years ago. So I bumped into him like 19, 20 years ago, and I was still like Ellen, and I was like,
Love her emoji eyes.
And the thing is, he was like a friend, so he always used to like walk me to school and like walk with me to school and things. And he only lived up the road from me, like literally like on the corner of the bend from where he lived. So when I used to walk the dog after school, I purposely always used to walk past his house just to see if he like noticed that I was there.
Just like
Just like Ellen did. I was like, honestly, I must have been influenced by this book when I was younger, definitely.
But,
yes.
Yeah, definitely. But he really wasn't dangerous. Although, like, funny enough, when it snowed, this is really weird actually now I think about it. When it snowed, there was like another boy who I was kind of like seeing, and then it always seemed like the boy that I fancied was a bit jealous of the one that I was kind of seeing, and they had this like big snowball fight. It was really weird. Like they were proper going for it, and I was kind of just standing there like watching them like have this massive. They even was like throwing each other on the floor in the snow. Either that, or I was really misreading the signs, and there was something else. But yeah, it was. Now I think about it, that was a bit of a strange one. But maybe he did love me after all, and I missed out.
Maybe next time you bump
I
into
think
him
he
in the
did.
co-op, he'll say, you know, I've actually been waiting all these years to tell you how I felt.
Absolutely.
That's it. But yeah, so he was yeah. So but I do think I think I did share in one of my posts, like this book my friend lent me. I think I gave her Point Horror, and she was like, read this Point Romance, and I was like, romance. But I did read it, and it kind of like it did hit a chord when I was younger, definitely. But I think I might have this one and another one confused, because when I was rereading it, I thought someone was going to die in it. Because, not just because of the Point Horror like bubble, but I must have that and another Point Romance like a bit muddled up, because there's certain elements I remember, and then I thought I'm sure someone died in this book, but I must have it confused with someone else, someone another book. So
let us know if you work it out, what it is.
I'm gonna have to read through them now. But
there's some good comments.
Yeah, I was just
Michael not being the dangerous one.
So your worst nightmare said a much better tagline. So mine about the candle. Kept waiting for Michael to be a bad boy. Yes, he wasn't really.
I mean, look at him. How can he be a bad boy?
With his little curtain,
and his
like hairstyle,
pink and purple shell suit top.
I know the shell suits. What about the shell suits?
Oh dear. Yeah, and Speedway Chick said we know who the real danger in this book is, and it's not Michael. Yes, we will definitely get into that. And Teddy put Michael was not dangerous at all. The other guy was the one to be wary of. Yes. Indeed. So what did you think of, like, we'll go with Michael first. What did you think of Michael as a love interest? Like, I feel like we didn't really get to know him very well. What about you, Shelley?
Yeah, so I feel like when they first have that meeting, and then she has that kind of all capacity and love that just develops over time, I do think that is relatable, because I think when you're a teenager, you just think that, you know, that everything's the end of the world, you know, and if it doesn't happen for you at that moment, it's, you know, how are you going to cope with life? Everything's so dramatic. I mean, I do feel like Ellen was quite a character that I really did feel for, and I felt sorry for. And I think when you met Michael, like my first time reading it as a teenager, and over those kind of years, I just couldn't wait to get to the end whenever he finally declares his love for her, and they have that moment, and I would just like literally just love that chapter every second of it. But I feel like he doesn't really get an awful lot of airtime. You know, he's only like just kind of in and out, and it's more about really the other characters. So you're kind of living for the moments that Michael's coming into.
Yeah.
And you know, I feel like he was quite unfair on Ellen. You know, he was the older one and the one who had the opportunity to not, you know, he obviously maybe didn't know if she felt that way, but let's be honest, I'm pretty sure he knew that she felt that way.
Yeah.
Because he knows that he probably had that sort of knowledge, considering everybody liked him. But I just felt as if the way that he dealt with it, you know, kissing her after the dance and then at the ice skating part and just kind of like winding her up almost and then leaving her. So I feel now I feel quite annoyed with him for doing that. I know he explains himself at the end, but I mean, she's been through 2.5 years of extreme torment. So I'm not really kind of sure how I feel about him, to be honest. I'm kind of mixed emotions.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. What about you, Kelly?
He definitely was loved from afar, wasn't he? And I think that must have, it obviously was done on purpose, because I didn't realise at first diving into it that it was going to take place over 2.5, 3 years. And because of that, when you start to realise it, you're like, oh, that's why he's not around so much, because, you know, she's going through different stages in her life. So when she first meets him, she's just started, you know, she started at high school and it's the next chapter, and she's like, you know, working out what it's going to be like to be more grown up, and then she sees him, and he just, I guess, is the picture of everything that she was hoping for at high school, and what it would be like to be more grown up and to have a more serious relationship with somebody. And so I think, you know, the fact that it goes over a long period, his absence, you do want him to appear again. I was almost starting to skip pages going, okay, I don't care, I want Michael. He was kept at such a distance that when you did have him, it made you feel like Ellen would have felt that he's here. So what interaction are we going to have now? And then you're like, yes, he's back. Okay, what's going to happen? Maybe this is going to be it. And then, no, he's going again. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it you were going on the emotional roller coaster with Ellen.
I agree with that. Definitely. Like, I do think like every time he did pop up, I was like, ooh, like I was intrigued, and I kind of thought, well, actually, it is quite reminiscent of how I would think my crush was back in the day. Like, I mean, I had a couple of crushes, not the one that used to walk me to school, but another one, just to explain. But like, you know, I thought it was quite reminiscent. Like, you know, I just saw a comment saying, where was it? Your worst nightmare says it's a rule of being 14 and you have to be crazy in love with a boy 2 years older than you. And that's so true, because I had like a crush that was 2 years older and I never saw him all the time, just like from afar. And so I kind of like that. And I think that's a strength in the writing that Mary Frances Shura, I think you say it, did, that the way she did that. But I wasn't a fan of all the pining after him. I didn't think he was worth pining after as much as Ellen did. Yes.
I think there was enough for you to think, you know, I can see there's the attraction, and obviously because he was popular, and yes, he called her little kid or kid sister and that kind of thing, but it didn't come across as too cocky or arrogant, unlike other male characters we see in a lot of point horrors and things like that. So there was enough for me to go, I trust Ellen's judgment that there's something to him, but she's young and she shouldn't be feeling this way after the first meeting, and, you know, so forlorn. But then at the same time, I was like, well, I can remember things like that. And as Shelley number 2 said earlier, you know, things feel so much more amplified when you're younger, and you're going through changes and hormones and, you know, new schools and things. And I think that's what is relatable. Like today we go, oh, you met him once, haven't you? That's not love. You know, you'd brush it off. Whereas when you're younger, everything is more meaningful.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think Ellen. Oh,
No,
sorry. On you
go
go.
on.
I was just going to say, I think Ellen was she's very sort of old before her time as well. And I've always been like that. I feel like I'm sort of a character, or when I was younger, not so much now, but a lot of people just didn't get me, you know? So, and I felt as if like she didn't have anybody really that she could talk to about what she was going through. And I think for me, that made it relatable because I'm sort of the same. And yeah, she just like she thought deeply and she was anxious and different things. Although it didn't go into that, but that's how her character was. She was dealing with the anxiety of this first love that she just couldn't get by.
Yeah. And what did you think of her friendship group? So like obviously the friends that we meet, which I've just got to remind my names because my memory sometimes goes. So Cricket, Maggie, and Luke. So do you think they were supportive of her? Like there was a couple of things at the start where she was getting a bit irritated with them, especially Maggie for being loud and wanting Maggie to change and things. Like, do you think that they were supportive of her? Were they good friends? What do you think, Shelley?
Well, I think I was quite annoyed with Ellen with the way that she treated Maggie. I was like, that was her character, and people should never try to change fundamental things about other people.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure that Ellen actually learned her lesson there. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more with that one, like her realising, you know, people are who they are and let them embrace who they are. At the end of the day, she was only embarrassed because it was a selfish embarrassment. So I've never liked that part. It's never sat right, and I always like to skip to the part when her and Maggie are friends again. So I hate that bit when they're not friends.
Yeah.
And I feel as if Luke changed, like because he obviously fell for Maggie, and he sort of his character arc developed. I think Cricket was very much a very young, like whilst Ellen was old for herself, Cricket was young for herself. So she took a wee while to sort of catch up. But I loved how Cricket had the ability to really, you know, show her, like tell her who she was, or like have a go at her, and then it's forgotten. You know, she'd be able to say, look, you're not acting right, you need to sort yourself out. So I quite admired that Cricket could do that, but she still didn't let it alter their friendship. So I liked that, and I loved how Maggie and Ellen did find their feet again, and obviously Maggie became who she was towards the end too, and you know, just never changing who she was, but developing in her personality. Which I loved. And yeah, I actually quite liked her friendship group. I thought it was a good friendship group. I kind of liked them all in their own right, you know?
Yeah.
And I felt like everybody gave something to each other in their group. I don't know, what did you guys think?
What did you think, Kelly? Did you like?
I agree. I think we've just seen a comment that Your Worst Nightmare said the side characters were amazing in this, properly well done. It was great writing. And I don't know whether it was because it was a longer book and again set over a time period. It just allowed the characters to breathe a little bit. So really good assessment, to be honest, in the characters, the friends. And if you think about it, they were on their own journeys of change.
Yeah.
And if you say Cricket felt a little bit younger, maybe Maggie was a little bit more mature, self-assured than Ellen was in the beginning, which is why Ellen was like shocked at how she was acting and thinking, oh gosh, that's embarrassing, because she wasn't secure in herself at the time. But I like that kind of evolution of all of them, and the fact that even friendships aren't plain sailing, and it isn't just about falling out over boys because you fancied the same one. It could be more complex than that. And I think Luke was your typical, like, is he going to be the other love interest? You know, because they've been friends forever, but then does one person want more? So, you know, if you think about like point horror tropes, you think, well, that you're given side characters like friends because you're trying to be given like clues or a red herring as to who the killer might be. Whereas in this, it's a way of kind of making you think about, you know, love isn't like plain sailing, and maybe Luke's going to develop those feelings for who has them, or maybe Ellen's then going to fall in love with him, or there's going to be a fraction in their relationship because he doesn't like who she's gone for. And I think that's kind of what we saw, wasn't it? That there was a lot of ups and downs and moments where Luke could have gone one way, and then I was surprised when he and Maggie got together.
That surprised me actually. Like I did think, like you said, I thought, because I couldn't remember much about the book, and I thought Luke is definitely pining after Ellen, and just not saying anything. So I thought, oh, I wonder if that's going to like come into play at the end and that. But he kind of went on his own journey in the end,
He
didn't
did.
he?
Yeah.
And I loved cricket. I
Yeah.
loved her. I thought she was brilliant. And as you said, Shelley, I loved the way that their friendship, that she could just say what she needed to say to a certain extent, and then it would just be like, yeah, move on. And
Yeah.
that's what I like in a friendship. Be honest with each other, and then you just gotta, okay, deal with it and move on. So yeah, I loved cricket so much. I could have read a whole book about cricket.
And you had to
have
a character with an unusual name, because again, that's a given.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's really weird because I started watching a TV programme with a character called Cricket in it. And then when I picked this book up, I was like, how strange is this? It's like really weird. You don't hear it. And then all of a sudden, all in the same week. Sharon put, I never had crushes when I was a teen, not on boys I knew anyway. Oh.
There's plenty of boys on TV I had crushes on. I mean, Zach from Saved by the Bell, anyone?
Oh, yeah. But have you seen him now? He like looks the same. Like, he doesn't really look.
Does he? I haven't seen anything recent of him, but yeah, I loved Saved by the Bell. That was a great show, definitely. But Blossom was my favourite one. I just loved it. And I loved Vinny. He was just like, had my heart, you know.
I can't think who my TV teen crushes were, but I was like, from between 13 and 14, I really got into like Nirvana and that. So my crush was Kurt Cobain. So
understandable.
Plastered. So I went from Take That posters all around my wall to like Nirvana, and then Gavin Rossdale from Bush and stuff. So it was like musicians for me. And then and then I picked up a guitar, and then my mum was like, no. But yeah.
Your worst nightmare just said that she loves Harvey from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Oh,
good choice. He could have been a Luke, because Harvey and Sabrina were best friends climbing, weren't they? They were best friends, weren't they?
Yeah.
No, that's Clarissa. That's a different one with her in.
Confused.
They started off as friends, didn't they? And then they became the love interest.
Yeah,
I like Friends to Lovers. That's good as well. Yeah. Slow burn and Friends to Lovers. I like both of them.
I thought that's where it was going.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm surprised, and a couple of other people have said they were pleased that it didn't go in that direction.
Yeah, no, I'm pleased it didn't, because it went in a different direction to what I thought. I saw Teddy put, maybe in the minority, but Michael looked hot on the front cover. I mean, back in the day, yeah.
He's got the hair down. He's definitely got the hair down, for sure.
Look at the eyes. Look at those eyes.
Oh, I'm looking at them.
Mesmerised then.
It's better than some of the other lads on the covers of Point Romance, I have to say.
Yeah. Oh,
true.
Some of them are a bit.
Speedway Chick said, I'm glad Luke wasn't pining over Ellen. Yeah. So Cameron put, did they explain why the unusual name? Were her parents mad on sport or wildlife scientists? They didn't. It was just like, she was just cricket.
And she suited it as well, didn't she? She was just like, she suited it.
Yeah. Teleproducer put, I suspected early on that Ellen might have ended up with Luke, but I'm glad that she didn't. Lisa from B for Book said, my TV crush was Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's still my crush.
Same. Sharon put, I was a teen in the early 80s, so Leaf Garrett? I don't know who that is.
I don't think I do either. Oh yeah, we'll be Googling after.
Googling, definitely. I might just Google now while I'm talking. Cameron's put, I had the divs of death in the 90s. The second I declared someone famous as my future husband, they died in real life or got arrested for ridiculous crimes. Karen! Leaf Garrett. I'm just looking. Oh
well, there you go.
Very 80s.
Very 80s.
He looks like he would have been in He must have been in a horror film, right, Sharon? Tell me, because I'm guessing. He looks like that type. Sharon put, I had friends at school nicknamed Cricket because of her long legs. Oh, maybe. Yeah, so we can't put it off any longer. We've got to talk about Hank.
Here we go.
Boo, hiss.
Boo, yeah.
Boo. Oh, Sharon said he was a singer, not Hank, but not the person I just showed.
Not to get confused.
Yeah, so obviously, as well as like the love interest and the romance, the book covered like important issues like control and abuse in relationship, with Hank and his jealousy. What were your thoughts on this? Was it, obviously, I'd take it it's different reading it now, so obviously when we was younger maybe, and yeah, just Hank there. Kelly, what did you think of Hank?
Well, I felt a little bit sorry for him in the beginning, so don't start to booing him or anything. I felt a bit sorry because she did go out, start seeing him when she was feeling this way about Michael. Her heart wasn't really in it, but she was trying to get herself out of the funk, wasn't she?
Yeah.
And just like, I'll give it a go, but everything's going to be compared to Michael. So I did feel a bit sorry for him because I was like, we're already starting off from a losing position, but oh my goodness, it was as it went on, and it did go on because they obviously had a relationship and split up and then had another chance. It was really like you were saying earlier, it's ahead of its time, I think, in the themes it was actually suggesting. And I would have read this and not thought too much of it, or just thought, why is he being a bit of a jerk? But I certainly wouldn't have understood it in the way that I do today.
Yeah.
But I think she was trying to get that point across in the time that it was written, and make it very clear, particularly when her friends were saying about the behaviour not being right, and that she that they understood why she was splitting up with him again. You shouldn't be going through this, you should be treated this way. So I think they were trying to deal with it when perhaps there weren't the words for it at the time, for this age of an audience to be talking about coercive control and acceptable behaviour in relationships. But it was actually quite hard hitting reading it now.
Yeah,
no, I agree. And Your Worst Nightmare has summed it up really well. So I was Team Hank for so long, so at the beginning, and then I love how the book gaslights you into liking him. So then it's just as much of a shock when he turns to the reader as Ellen. So yeah, it was a bit of a shock actually, because I mean, I didn't trust him when he forgot to buy popcorn on the first date. I was like, suspicious. But
that would have been it for you.
Yeah, I would have been like, dumped. God. No popcorn.
She said, "No, I've already eaten anyway, so it's okay."
Oh no, it's not okay. No, never. Yeah. What did you think, Shelley, of Hank and his ways?
Yeah, so I think it was very well written and also very sensitively done. And I think that I think the same as you guys. I think when he first comes into it on your very first read ever, then you are basically, you kind of like him. You feel sorry for him because you know that Ellen's never going to be the one that she's never going to love him. You know that because she tells you that in her own mind. But the first sort of inkling where you sort of get a feeling that he's bad news is when he makes the comment about Luke, and he actually all jealous. And then I was like, oh, I can see a different side to him. But what I hated through the book, but also think is so relatable in controlling relationships. I've been there, done that, and bought the t-shirt. So reading it now for me makes it even harder. And I feel, I just feel as if like Ellen was sort of blaming herself, and she was always making excuses for herself, and that's very much what people do in controlling relationships. Like, well, that's a shame for Hank because he loves me so much, and I'm putting him through this when I've already told him I can't love him the same way, and so we're just this kind of like, sad couple that will just make it work. And it's like, no, you don't have to be treated like that, But this is where I'm going to tell you who my favourite character in the whole book is, and it's Oliver Sampson. I love Ollie. He is like, I would have, if I could go back to Ellen now, if she was a real person, I'd say go with him, not Michael, because I really, really, really liked him. He was the same age as Michael, and he just had everything. And he called it at the end when he told her, you need to stay away from people like that. They are who they are, and they're not going to change.
Yeah.
And she listened to him, and having a friend in your corner like that can recognise those things and help you out. I thought that was a really good message to send to teenagers, because a lot of teenagers can get in that situation, and because they're teenagers, they maybe don't realise or know how to deal with it. So I feel as if it was good to have that element in the book and send a good positive message to teenagers.
Yeah,
it's still there to this day.
Definitely agree about Ollie. He really, like, I mean, he went for Hank, didn't he? He was like, what's he done to you? Like, it was like, you could imagine them like in the theatre doing their like drama stuff, and this proper like, you know, energy between them, just hatred. But yeah, I did love Ollie. I thought, oh bless him. It was just like he loved that, and she was just like,
he did. Oh.
Yeah.
But then don't forget there was Scott from Scottsdale as well.
I liked him too. Yeah, he was good too.
I think there was a few lads. So we had Luke to begin with as like the comparison, like the mirror for Ellen to compare Michael. Like, I know what Luke's like, so now I've met Michael, and I know, you know, the certain characteristics that I like because I have a male friend, and I have had for a long time. And then she has Hank, who seems nice to begin with, and then those issues start arising. She meets Scott from Scottsdale, as she says every time she says his name, who seemed absolutely smitten with her as well, but she was very good at managing it. So she's getting better at kind of seeing the cues that somebody might want more, but for her deciding, okay, this is what it's going to be. And then we had Oliver as well. So I think they were almost designed as like the mirrors of, yes, comparing Michael, but also getting her to see Hank differently, and to question that relationship more.
And I kind of liked as well that you saw that element of her growing and thinking and making that decision, like, no, I'm not going to go there with him. And I think that was quite empowering. Like, I think to read that as a teen, with her making that decision, like, you haven't just got to go with the boy who likes you. You've got a decision that you can make to say no. I thought that was quite an empowering message as well, especially when, like, at the beginning she would never have made that decision, and you see her grow into that just through the experiences and stuff that she has with Hank, and, you know, and her love, her unrequited love with Michael. I thought that was quite a good message to get across.
And that's the bit that I loved most about the book, was the time frame that it went over, because it allowed there to be development. And I wish there was a bit more about when she went to the camps. So when she went to the camp where she met Scott, and then she went to the artist one, and there were big chunks of time, basically the times where Michael wasn't going to be around, that were done in 2 or 3 or 4 pages, compared to when she was there, and it was then far more detailed about the gaps or the activities or the theatre she was doing. But I really liked the length of time, because it allowed for the fact that characters could change, because it wasn't just 2 weeks. It was, you know, over a long period of time. And I think that's what was really lovely about it. And if you think about it, by the end, you realise that Ellen is basically a female version of Michael, in that everyone likes her. A lot of people find her attractive, and are very much drawn to her. They talk about this bit, there being a light in her, or and that she doesn't see it herself, but by the end she does. And sorry to be really cheesy, but that's why I think Michael deserved her in the end. Because by the end she valued herself, and it was like, okay, now you deserve her, Michael.
Yeah. So you were happy that they got together in the end then, were you? Yeah.
He wasn't dangerous, okay? Unlike the cover, he wasn't dangerous. He wasn't really that big a threat. Compared to the others, most definitely not. And, you know, he was there when it counted. And when he explained himself, I was like, well, I don't know many lads who are a couple of years older who would have done that. They would have gone, yeah, whatever.
I mean, I think when he explains that he has been through the exact same torment as her, and he's been beating himself up for years, and he was like trying her, when he says the line that I just needed to let you be who you were going to become, or, you know, sort of something similar to that at the last few pages, I kind of sort of let him off the hook in that moment, you know, because I'm kind of like, right, I get that, you know, she was 14 when you've met her, you're 2 years older than her, and she does need to learn who she needs to be. It's just, she had to do it in such a harrowing way. But other people that of Ellen's age at 14 would not have probably been the same way. Like they probably just would have been like, oh well, he's away to college, I'll go and meet someone else, or I might, see if there's anybody else out there that likes me. But I feel like with Ellen, she was never going to do that. She needed to have her chance with Michael. I think she would have thought about it for the rest of her life, you know, even when this happened at a young age. Yeah. So I was quite glad that they end up. Do I think that they would always be together for the rest of their lives? Probably not. But I think they needed to have that time to see if it could become anything.
Exactly. Without the other pressures and things on it, that they were both more grown up and
I'm not sure whether I was happy they got together in the end. Like I knew
I love it when we have like different opinions.
Like I knew it was inevitable that it was going to happen, and it was going to be Christmas, and they were stringing it out a bit at the end to get to Christmas, like a little bit. And then I thought, oh, I know they're going to get together, but I was like, do I want them to, or do I want her to like push him in that icy river? You know,
that would turn it into a point water.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I think I was too hung up that I wanted her to be with Ollie. Like I did just love Ollie a lot.
He
definitely had a
bachelor's, like that.
Yeah. So
they all wanted her at the end.
She could have had her pick, But yeah, I'm not sure. Like I knew it was inevitable, but I'm like, and I didn't. Yeah, okay, I agree. Like I did like his reasonings, like we waited, and then he was pining for her. And I know teen me would be like, but then older me is a bit like, no, push him in the river. Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure how I felt about it, but it was like I was happy for them. But yeah, they wouldn't be together now. Definitely not.
No, I don't think so. She meets up with Ollie in the future after she's finished, and then the two of them get their chance. That's what I think.
Petition for Shelley to write Point Romance.
I was just
Shelley too.
Sitting thinking, maybe I should write some fan fiction and I could do some kind of sequel here.
And it would be called Winter Dreams Summer Love.
Oh yes, I would like that. Yeah,
flip it round.
That would be good. Might consider this.
I saw that Teddy said with regards to Hank, it dealt with control issues quite well, especially considering it was the 90s. Not as problematic as I thought it would be. Yeah, it was quite interesting. I was really expecting like more like problematic issues from reading this, but I was pleasantly surprised how it was dealt with. Definitely. Speed Rachel said, does anyone remember a programme called Student Bodies? It does ring a bell. Yeah.
I don't remember it. I think it does ring a bell too, though, but I can't think.
Yeah, and Your Worst Nightmare said, yes, Ollie with a nice pink eye. Yeah, we liked Ollie.
We love Ollie.
Speed Rachel said, we need a sequel or a book from Michael's perspective. That would have been so good. Like, how do we think that would have gone down from like Michael's perspective? Because a couple of times he does indicate he was watching her when she didn't know. A bit stalkerish, but
creepy stalker, yeah.
Like, would you have liked to have seen Michael's perspective, Kelly?
I would have done. I mean, I like the idea of perhaps there being a chapter from Ellen and then a chapter from Michael, or Michael writes the last chapter. So speaking like the romance in your heart, like if the last chapter was Michael and him going to her and doing the same explanation, but from Michael sharing his feelings. That would have been perhaps the icing on the cake.
Yeah. I think seeing him suffering, this sounds terrible, but seeing him suffering the way that Ellen was suffering might not have been a bad thing. Might make you feel better during the course of the read.
I think I would have liked that, you know. I would probably have
I like multi-path. I would definitely have liked that.
Yeah. There was a book I read years ago called Truth or Dare by Nom Pratt. And basically the book is like, so the one half of the book is from the girl's perspective, and then you flip the book over and then you read it backwards and it's the boy's perspective. And it was really clever and unique because you read the same story essentially, but from the other person's point of view. And it's really clever. I do recommend it. Just for like its cleverness.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Cool.
a bit weird because you're reading the same story, but it's good because you just see other opinions and that.
Yeah.
Quite
Oh,
clever.
I'm going to look that up as well.
Yeah.
Thanks for the recommendation.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Speedway Chick said, when do I get my time with my crushes from school? Yes. And Karen said, are you all drinking wine? As now I want some. Maybe. Got wine.
No, unfortunately, mine's Vimper. It looks like wine.
Mine is wine, it is, yeah. I was thinking, we're having a romance chat. I was like, I'll have a wee glass. I had a little bit left in my bottle from last night. I thought I'll just finish it up.
Mine's gin.
Woo!
I thought, why not?
Why not?
Why not? So I just wanted to ask you as well what you thought about Ellen's parents, because they were quite active, which we're very not used to in Point Horror, having the parents around. And they were quite active, especially the mom, phoning people up for lifts all the time and stuff. That made me laugh. So what did you think? Did you like that element that she was so involved in it? And how she kind of like how she didn't just blurt it out. She kind of kept quite reserved and waited for Ellen to open up to her. What do you think, Shelley?
Yeah, I really loved that element. I grew up in a fortunate situation where I was very close to my mum. I'm still close to my mum. My mum and dad live next door to me. That's how close we all are. And we just pop in and out of our houses, our dressing gowns on, for a cup of tea. It's great. But like my mum would always be my kind of go-to person when I was young. So I loved having that element where her mum did give her that time and space, and her mum ended up being the one that she was able to confide in. And like you say, in the point horrors, and even in quite a lot of young adult books that I read nowadays, the parents are not always there in the stories. They're just kind of like somewhere in the background, and the kids are like usually on a mission to take over the world or sort a problem out or whatever, and they're doing it all by themselves. But I think that I just felt like this book had a lot of real life relatable elements to it, and I think for me that's probably another reason why it resonated so much with me when I was younger, because I could relate to so much of it. So I loved the fact that her mum was the one that she confided in. And again, but that might have been hard for young people to read, because young people don't always have that kind of relationship with their mothers. So but I liked it. I liked that part. Really liked it.
How about you, Kelly? Did you like the parents
I did, because
involved?
as you say, they can often be absent or quite two-dimensional. And they did start off being a bit stereotypical, the idea that they were very adamant that she was going to go to this camp over Christmas, over summer, and there was no negotiating, and you need to think about your attitude and go upstairs and don't come down until you've thought about it. And I thought, well, that's so typical parent reaction. So I was really pleased that when she did start to say something to her mum, that her mum didn't just shut her down or just say, don't be so silly, you're only 14, you're only 15, or and that she kind of let her speak about her feelings and didn't necessarily make those feelings sound silly or immature. She actually kind of said, it's having an impact upon you, so we need to do something to bring about positive change, rather than just going, you're wrong, you're silly, just forget about it, or you're grounded. So I actually felt like the mum in particular, was more three-dimensional, and I don't know if I would have felt the same about my mum, because when I was that age, it was like, well, they don't understand. That was the most common thing I think that went through my head, or I might say, was, you don't understand, because teen angst and everything's so much more meaningful to us, and parents have never been there before. So what would they know? They don't understand. So I don't think I would have got that reaction from my mum if I'd gone there and said, I'm pining after this boy. It's like, yeah, whatever, just grow up. You'll grow up. I wouldn't have had such an understanding conversation, I don't think. So I thought it was really nice to have that. And it really, Ellen had support on all sides. If you think about it, she had support in the end from her mum. She had a good relationship with her sister, even though she was obviously younger, but she had a good relationship with her. And she had a good friendship group. And then she met other people along the way. So she had quite a big support network, but she still had to make the decisions for herself in the end.
Yeah. And I think one of my favourite scenes is when she does open up to her mum, and the mum takes her out for some food, and then she finally opens up. And I kind of think, like, I stopped at that point and I thought, because I wondered why it took Ellen so long to say something and so long to open up. But I do think if Ellen opened up when she was younger, because she was a little bit older at that point, so when she was younger, I think it would have been dismissed quite easily.
Yeah,
But I
so
think
too.
because she was a little bit older at that point, they had kind of this grown-up mutual conversation together, and like it was just really like quite heartwarming. It's one of my favourite scenes, actually. I really loved that scene.
I agree.
Love it. Teddy producer said the mum was awesome. How rich was this family? Yeah, because like they did seem to, like, I don't know. Luke's family had a beautiful home. Speedway chick. Speedway chick. Oh dear. Speedway chick said.
It's the gin.
No, no. I've only had a couple of sips. Oh dear.
From a giant cup.
It's not full to the top. It's only like about that.
I think I need to come to the Midlands and we need to go out for a night out and hang out. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be. That'd be so cool. But yeah, you kind of get the impression that they weren't short of money. Like, but then I did kind of like the element of the mum wanting to go back to work and retraining to go back to work. I liked that was brought into it as well.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, what's in that drink, I know. So did you have like a favourite scene, Shelley, or like what was your ultimate, if you could only pick one scene, like what was your favourite?
I liked, my favourite part in the whole book was when she goes to the dance with Ollie. I love it because Ollie's my favourite, but even when I was younger I was kind of like hoping that maybe he might be a contender for her heart, you know, but then she still ends up with Michael. But I just loved that whole scene when she was at the dance. I really liked the moment with her mum as well, like the you already mentioned, but that's been mentioned, but that was another really lovely part of the book because I love anything that's got a kind of heartwarming, you know, serious moment to it. That will always, you know, have my heart as well. But I think just the whole scene, just her coming down in her dress, and just the fact that Ollie managed to actually make her enjoy her evening, even when she was still, you know, he just had something. He just had so much about him, you know, and I just loved it, and I loved how he sort of was very perceptive as well. He knew, I think he knew about Michael, because he could tell that time when they saw each other in the library and things. But yet he wasn't like Hank. He just got what he got from Ellen and enjoyed what he was getting from her, regardless of making her feel like, you know, terrible for it. But I loved the scene. I loved the dance scene, which was all dressed up and they're dancing about double time. Oh, it's good.
Yeah, the dress sound is so beautiful.
It does. It sounds so snowy and lovely.
Oh, how about you, Kelly? Did you have a favourite scene? If you could just pick one.
The dress does stand out because she wears it twice, doesn't she? She wears it once and then she decides to wear it again. So one is at the Christmas party and one's at the dance or something.
Yeah.
And I just remember, I think that's the first time she started to see herself as attractive and that she had a power as well.
Yeah.
I think before then she just felt like the little kid and not quite fitting in her body or what have you. And I think with the dress, it was that she started to see herself in a different way. So I thought that was quite powerful. It made me think of one of my favourite TV programmes is Dawson's Creek.
Oh, I love Dawson's Creek.
And so it reminded me, like, she was a bit like a Joey, and like when Joey goes to somewhere and she's wearing like a dress and her sister puts some lipstick on her for the first time, she goes out and all of a sudden everyone looks at her differently because she's wearing lipstick and she just looks more of a woman than a kid now. And it just reminded me of that kind of moment, and it just made me think of Dawson's Creek. But I liked the anything with the snow because it does say winter love. So anytime they're out skating, or when Michael took her to look at the snow falling over, was it the park or the lake or something?
Yeah.
And then that's where he takes her again later on. And the fact that she likes the snow globe. So it was just, I like the snow elements. But Scott from Scottsdale as well, because I thought his little bit.
Yeah, he's good.
He just sticks in my memory because I just remember him like cheering her on at the end of camp and saying about all that she's achieved and how they're going to be pen pals. They're going to be pen pals. How witty is that?
I love pen pals.
I loved it. So sweet. The only thing is though, like, he does discourage her from doing that marathon, right? Like, I don't know how I felt about that, because I was a bit like, this is a bit of out of character from Scottsdale. Doesn't he say you need to be a bit older to do the marathon?
Yeah, apparently I think there was like 2 marathons, and one where they would allow you to do it even at a younger age, and it's not like, it was like the New York Marathon, you had an age cap, but she wanted to do the Chicago Marathon and she could have done it, but he's like, your body's not ready for it, you need to give yourself time. That was that should have been her call,
that's what
and she's training all the time, so I reckon she probably could have done it. She's very fit.
See, I was a bit like, oh, this is a bit like Hank-esque, like behaviour, because I was still mad at the tree scene when Hank forced her up the tree.
That's a horrible scene.
Oh, it's horrible. But yeah, so I was a bit like, oh, I didn't expect that. I thought that he would be more encouraging of it, or let it be her decision if she thinks she was ready. I just found that scene very odd. Like it was a bit out of place, like it was going to go somewhere, but then the author changed their mind, maybe? I'm not sure.
No, maybe.
Yeah, Lisa put, when Michael sent her the letter saying he was looking at the news, he acknowledged her success. So that was Lisa's favourite.
That was a nice bit. Yeah, I like that bit too. Yeah.
Was it like a little postcard or something, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was like a little letter, wasn't it? Yeah.
Had the Connecticut stamp on it, I remember.
Oh, yeah. The little sister had it. Oh, dear. Yeah, that was a good scene. I did like that.
You can tell which person in this chat has read the book every year. I think you'll find out had a postcard in Connecticut. Here I am flicking through going, when did that happen again?
Oh dear. Yeah, I was trying to think of like some other scenes, but yeah, I think those are like the best ones, aren't they, really?
I like to know there was another good scene as well that was good, and it was when they go to the party and Luke's got his new girlfriend, and she starts to panic that, oh well, that's my night ruined because Michael will be there, and how Luke perceived her facial expression in that moment, and he got his sister to Adrian to not invite Michael, and it's a little, very, very little moment, but it showed how much he cared and was trying to look after his friend. That was a nice moment as well.
That was nice. And as you said as well, anything to do with the snow and Christmas, there's just something romantic about like Christmas and snow and things like that. I always think there's something magical about it. Your worst nightmare said, I think the marathon thing was trying to say, don't grow up too fast. You have so much time. But it felt wrong coming from a lad, not her own choice. Yeah. Oh, kind of. Yeah, I like it. If that was the message, then I agree. But yeah, it just felt a bit. I just felt it was a bit out of place. I'm not sure. So do you like the fact that it was a slow burn? So it was literally over this 2.5 to 3 year thing, or do you like a bit of Insta romance, or do you like a slow burn, Shelley?
I adore a slow burn, and I blame this book for it, to be honest. But I don't know if you remember, like also in the excuse me, in the 90s. There was a movie called The Cutting Edge. Have you seen it?
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Whatever you do this week, watch that film. It's about this hockey player and a very entitled figure skater, and both of them actually fail at what they're doing. like he ends up taking an injury, so he can't be an ice hockey player anymore, and she ends up having a fall with her partner when she was just about to win gold at the Olympics. And then her trainer gets the two of them together to be this new kind of brilliant couple that everyone's going to be talking about. But they hate each other, like they absolutely detest each other. And it is like the best slow burn I've ever watched in terms of a movie. So you have to watch it. I highly recommend that.
Okay.
Cutting Edge. And it's got the girl, you know, Moira Kelly. Did you ever watch One Tree Hill?
Yeah.
So the mum, Lucas's mum in that, Moira Kelly, she's the ice skater in it when she was younger. So it's really, really good. But I love a slow burn, and I loved how we had to wait right to the end, because for me that is perfect pacing, because the tension's building and you're waiting to see this moment that you've been waiting for this whole time. So yeah, I like it.
How about you, Kelly? Do you like insta love?
I'm just thinking about it. I think in a book like this, I do want the slow burn, because I can guarantee I'll pick another one up off that shelf up there.
Yeah.
I can't do it backwards. There we go. And I'll pick one, and it'll, like French Kiss or Kiss Me Stupid, and I just expect it to be every other page something happening. And it won't be as believable. And so for me, reading this is my first reintroduction to point romance. It felt like it had far more substance to it than just seeing a boy across the crowded disco and smooch. You know, there was more to it. So I'm not writing these ones off, guys, but I just think that this one had a lot more to it, had space to do it, and I enjoyed it. But I personally hate it where it's really obvious that because they hate each other, it means that they'll love each other one day. Like, if I love X-Files, I love Dawson's Creek, I like things like Castle, and in them there's always a love interest, or well, because they're not love interests, they're probably going to fall in love at some point. And it gets a bit crazy when you're watching a TV program and it's like series 4 and you're like, and they're still doing this sexual chemistry, but nothing's happened. And that's far too slow a burn. I'm like, oh, can you just get it over and done with already? Just let it happen. I hate the we don't like each other at first, but then they end up getting married at the end. That just annoys me. Like, they annoy you in the beginning, they annoy you.
Don't get with them. Well, I saw Karen put enemies to lovers is the best trope, so that's right.
I like that. I do like it, I have to say. I love it.
And all that, you know.
See, I like a slow burn, but in books I like it as in over time. Like my favourite, one of my favourite books is One Day by David Nichols, which
that's great.
obviously they've just put the TV series up because hopefully it redeems itself from the film. But anyway, and I love Anne Hathaway. But yeah, so that's one of my favourite books ever. And obviously that is a slow burn over like 20 years. And then I read another book. It was quite unique. I think it was called The Sight of You, I think, by Holly Miller, I think it was. And it's quite different because the guy in it can kind of, if he falls in love, essentially, he can then see their death. So he has to try and restrain himself from falling in love with the person. It sounds strange, but it's really good. And the ending is phenomenal. But again, it's like over a period of time, like a slow burn love because of the thing that he can see and how it happens and stuff. So it's quite interesting. But in TV series, it gets on my nerves. I'm like, just get together, like you said, Kelly.
It is. It's annoying in a TV series. It's so drawn out.
But I know the payoff is worth it because you've been waiting for so long.
Yeah.
Like, the way that Friends ended, whether you agree about Rachel and Ross being back together or not, when it happened, everyone must have been a sigh of relief. Finally. Oh my God.
Definitely. Teddy put loved One Tree Hill, still crush over Chad Michael Murray. Yeah, definitely. I met him at a Comic-Con. Must have been before COVID. I'll have to see if I can find the picture, but he's still just
he's lovely. He's lovely.
Yeah. I was like, oh. So Speed Ray Chick said, how many stars are we giving it out of 5? So how many stars do we give Summer Dreams Winter Love out of 5? Kelly?
4.
4.
I really, really enjoyed it. Didn't think I was going to love it as much. Thought I was going to look at it and go, it's cheesy, it's a bit babyish, but I love it. You know, we've talked about it now, and I love it more now.
Yeah. Shelley, what about you? I mean, you've read it so many
Straight 5.
times.
It has to be 5 stars for me. It's like one of my favourite books, you know, for various different reasons. But yeah, I have to give it 5. It's always a 5.
Yeah. I think for me, I agree with Kelly. It was a 4-star for me, just because there's some bits that could have been edited out. I think but I get why it was in there, just to draw, you know, give it that long time scale. But yeah, I loved going on the journey with Ellen, and I did. By the time I got to the end, I think Teleproducer had put a comment on one of the posts and said, by the time I got to the end, I actually missed the characters when I finished the book.
I know. You feel that kind of sad way whenever you watch like a good movie or you've read a good book and you're just a bit lost at the end of it. You're like, oh, what am I going to read now? What am I going to watch now? It definitely had that quality, I thought.
We didn't mention the brother, but just you saying that, and like you missed the characters. Like even the brother was like a common, regular character that came up, and he was quite well developed. So I just think, you know, Shelley, I agree. There were some parts that could have been shorter, but at the same time, it was to give you that length of time so people could change and grow and challenge each other and fall in and out of love and what have you. So
definitely, like definite credit to the writing there as well. Really, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Karen said, I love the forced proximity enemies to lover tales, like put the hero and the villain together in a room. And said Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick was a lot of fun for that. The villain is all, well, hello. Oh, okay. Might have to check that one out. And Sharon says she hates Friends. Is it because there's no murder in it? Teleproducer said, I miss the characters at the end and wants a sequel, but Shelley too is writing a sequel. No, not really. Just joking. But we wanted to.
Maybe I could just like write a short story and send it to you guys.
Yeah, that's it. We'll take it.
Okay.
Teleproducer said, I just looked up. The author has a really tragic life story, and it looks like this was published after she died. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to look at that after. Oh, that's.
I didn't realise that either.
Another layer of madness.
Karen's put there is murder in Friends. Remember the fish. That's true. But yeah, so I better wrap up because I've been babbling on for ages now. But thanks, guys, for
chatting. It was so much fun.
It was really fun. Thank you.
Yeah, and we might have to do another Point Romance at some point, because I did really enjoy just dipping my toe in the water there. And we need to find out the one where the love interest dies, because I'm sure that there is.
You find that and tell us what it is. We'll read it and we'll have another chat. But I'm the same as you guys. Like, I was mostly into the point horror as well. Like, that's what I love the most, and that's what I write. That's what I'm writing now myself. Horror. I love horrors and thrillers. And I was wanting to just ask before we go, have either of you read a book by Lois Duncan called The Stranger with My Face?
Yes.
Oh, you have?
As well? Yeah.
I think we should read that and do a chat, because I've not met anybody else who's read that. I've suggested it. It's like really super creepy. It's all about astral projection, but it's like really creepy. And I just remember it was gave me the same sort of creepy feels as The Perfume. So I was kind of I really, really, really liked it, but I don't know if you guys would be up for doing a read of that, because I definitely want to read that book again for sure, and see if I feel the same way I did as I did when I was a young person reading it.
I'll try and do another bonus, because I want to try every couple of months or something to do a bonus read alongside the point horror, because I just think it's fun, and I've got so many books that I need to get to over here. like from the 90s and that. So I thought it'd be a fun little way to do something different. So yeah, we'll do that one.
Perfect.
And you'll have to come.
Perfect.
That means you want to come back on and chat. Yay!
Absolutely. I'm already excited for it.
Yeah, that's it, Karen. A quarterly like bonus read. That's what I'm
Deal.
gonna
Signed,
try and
sealed,
do.
delivered.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Oh, and Karen's put, please do more point romance reads, as I need to read some. Love a bit of romance cheesiness. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Your Worst Nightmare said Lois Duncan, do it. So yeah, we'll definitely do that then. I'll sort it and I'll arrange it. But thanks guys for like chatting and reading the book again and chatting.
Oh, it's so
all
much
about
fun.
it.
It's like we could probably chat for another hour.
Honestly, I lose track of time sometimes. Like I try and stick to an hour and always end up going a little bit over because I just like and sit here like absorbing everything in what everyone's saying. So
That's all good.
Thank you guys, and yeah,
so much. I've had so much fun. So good to actually meet you both as well. So I know we chat like back and forth, but nice to meet you both as well. It's lovely.
It's so weird because I feel like I've spoken to you, Shelley, before like this.
No, it feels like I know you already, but it's just nice to actually get a chat. I love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Come back again soon, and we'll definitely do that book.
Absolutely. Whenever you want me, I will be there.
And thank you, Shelly, for all your hard work as always, and for coming up with all these fun.
Absolutely, you are absolutely amazing. Like literally my favourite person like that I follow on Instagram. Like I really love everything that you put up, and you're so good at putting all your posts together, and it just looks amazing.
Oh, thanks, guys. Honestly,
legend.
I just
legend.
Stop. Oh, thanks, guys. Like honestly, I just love it, and I love like chatting about anything, but especially like 90s books and point horror and that. So yeah, brilliant. I just love it. And then I found my people, and I love it. It's brilliant.
Definitely.
Lisa's put Shelley is queen. You're too kind.
Definitely.
All of you. Thank you. And thanks to everyone who's joined in the comments and who gave this point romance a try as well. I know it probably looked a bit crazy when I suggested it, and what is she doing? But yeah, thank you for giving it a go, and we'll definitely do another one soon.
Good.
But thanks, guys.
Take care. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye, Shelley.
Bye.
Bye.